theme song without us saying hi to YouTube?
We're live. We're hi
YouTube.
YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
You always have to get your hi before we.
I know. Well, it's because they're fucking sitting there and they're watching us.
Yeah, they're waiting.
Kind of. Maybe.
Is anyone on yet? No one's on yet.
Oh, you sons of bitches.
But someone will be watching. Someone will be watching back, and they will hear our hi.
And they'll hear our hi. Thank you. Later.
That's right.
Okay.
So you're playing Jason? Yeah.
Hooty-hoo!
Welcome back, everybody. It's This Is Sucks. It's Friday night. I'm JB,
I'm Mike.
and we're here. We're up in
live.
it.
Yeah.
We're live.
We're together again. Reunited. And
It feels so good. We have to sing it every time.
I know, every
yeah,
time.
we just need to get one of those.
The button.
Yeah.
Do you think we would get pulled from YouTube if we had like a snippet of Reunited?
If somebody figured it out that we had done it, then yes. But if we were able to fly under the radar, which I think we probably would,
Who,
despite our huge high-profile presence.
I know we are definitely high profile. What? Who sang that song? Is that Dionne
Reunited.
Warwick?
I actually have no idea. Dionne Warwick? Isn't that an actor? Isn't that the guy that?
No, that's Warwick Davis.
Isn't that the guy that was in Harry Potter?
Isn't that the guy from fucking Willow? Isn't that Willow?
Yes,
Dionne Warwick?
Exactly. Yep.
Dionne Warwick as Willow.
Singing Reunited, and it feels so good.
I want to see that remake with Dionne Warwick as Willow. Peck, come here, Peck. She's like, I ain't no Peck, motherfucker.
That would be awesome.
It is
needs to
Friday,
happen.
though. Yeah,
It is Friday. It is Friday. You listening to music?
No.
I didn't either because I looked and there was nothing appealing to me.
Well, okay. So, what did you even see that was new?
It's I don't even remember, but I'll read it off because I think I still have it pulled up here.
And this is not a bitch by any stretch of the imagination. But what Apple Music did today was Apple Music basically was putting up a bunch of music in celebration of Juneteenth. Because Juneteenth is now a holiday, which fucking rightfully so. How that wasn't a holiday decades ago. Shame on our entire fucked up government. But it is now. And so Apple Music was putting a bunch of stuff like in celebration of Juneteenth. And
that's cool.
They only listed like 2 new records. One of them was like music to celebrate Juneteenth, which I don't necessarily I don't think of that as new music. And then there was something else, but it wasn't real.
Metacritic has 4 new albums released today.
Okay.
One by Mickey Blanco. Do you know who that is?
No.
It's a rapper, Southern California rapper. And then Francis Lung, who is the ex-Woo Lif bassist. So again, like I have no idea who that even is.
No.
Max Bloom is the former Yuck frontman. Like I don't know who Yuck is. Do you know who that is? No. Okay. Yeah. You were pretty convincing that time. And then Kings of Convenience. Peace or Love, the first full-length release for the Norwegian duo.
Do you think those Norwegian fucks really love Kings of Leon and they were like, Kings
of Convenience? Could be.
We could riff on that name, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, none of it was like, I need to listen to that. There's been some things where...
Do you think they have a song called Sex on Aisle?
Or Sex on... What is the song? Sex on Fire? I was going to say Sex on Ice or something. That's a little too obvious. Sex. You don't have Sex on Aisle 3. You go a little further in. You go to like at least aisle 11 or 12.
I mean, wherever the prophylactics are, right? Because the presumption is that you see those prophylactics and then it's just like...
Or you just go to the freezer aisle and the temperature, you don't have to worry about prophylactic. It just cancels.
Is that a real thing?
Yeah.
Kids everywhere. Listen, kids, don't listen to Jada. That's not a real thing.
Well, it's just like from the movie Knocked Up. Like a girl can't get pregnant if she's on top. It's just grab it.
Such a beautiful movie. One thing that we can talk about because it hadn't happened yet last week was Record Store Day.
Record Store Day.
Woo!
Let's go spend all our money at Record Store Day.
JB did.
Yeah, not all of it, but almost all of it.
I didn't spend all my money on Record Store Day because in Texas, Dude, Texas was really fucked up. So first of all, the closest record store to me was an hour and a half away because I'm in bumfuck Egypt, fucking South Texas.
Right.
Which, listen, lovely town, and I really do love it a lot. But it's out in the middle of nowhere. Like, it's a super small town.
Nothing close by.
Yeah, so the closest ones were either in San Antonio or in Austin, and basically every record store in either one of those locations was doing a lottery. So you had to show up before record store day, put your name into a lottery, and then they were basically drawing names at random and allowing those people that they drew on a random basis into the store first. And so
you had to come a different day, like before, or you
Correct.
couldn't just come in the morning.
no.
Okay.
I mean, you could, because eventually they were going to just let the general population.
But there'd be nothing left.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get fucked. So,
Yeah. So our production manager, Justin Jantis, and myself, last weekend we went around to some record stores, and there are a couple of big record stores here in Des Moines, two being owned by the same guy, and
Yeah.
we went over to one of them, which is called Vinyl Cup. So just for those Des Moines people listening, and there was a line, I mean, almost wrapped around the building, and that place is upstairs. So like,
Really?
it went all the way all the way from the upstairs, down the stairs, and to the side. Des Moines record store, ZZZ Records, which is around in Ingersoll, really close to both of our houses, and stopped in there. We're waiting in line for a while, got a sheet of the inventory that they had available, and we were like, what we really want is like the Dead record box set, and they were like, one copy. And we were like, well, what else we want is the Doors. Maybe they have that, 2 copies. And then we were like, oh, there's a Notorious B.I.G. record. We might want to look at that, 1 copy. And we were like, and so at some point I was like, to the people in front of us, like, hey, what are you guys getting? And they were like, oh, Doors and Notorious B.I.G. I was like, let's get out of here. so we decided to go to another one downtown, and we ended up getting everything we wanted. So
That's
it was awesome.
Was there no line at Mark's?
There was a line, but we probably were about, I want to say maybe 30th in line, and we were still able to get everything we wanted. So we got there about 8:15. They opened up at 9. And
Dude, you know what a hot get was that I don't think Vinyl Cup or Mars had a lot of, if I remember the inventory correctly. But it was like a big thing because I called a bunch of these record stores down in Texas to see if they would tell me how many copies they were getting of
what?
the Grateful Dead and stuff like that, just to see if it was worth taking a gamble to like wait
to drive. Yeah, and even to drive.
Well, because think about it, like, because I was also asking them, hey, do people line up pretty early? Like, how early do people line up? Because, you know, one of the guys was like, yeah, people line up pretty early. I'm opening at 8:30. Like, I've seen people hit 5 before. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Because this is an hour and a half away. So now I'm waking up at like 4 or 4:30 to try and get in line to get something. So I'm like, you know, how many copies of The Dead are you getting? He's like, I can't tell you. It's
Really?
a record store. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've heard that.
Weird, because all the ones that here were emailing out.
Emailing
What they had,
inventories,
yeah.
exactly what they had, how many copies, like what location, and so regardless, I just said fuck it, and luckily, you know, you guys were kind enough to wait in line twice. Actually.
Yeah, it was very short second time.
Yeah, but still, you were able to hook me up with what I wanted. And
Yes.
I wanted Thelonious Monk and obviously the Dead box set.
Yeah, so there was a Dead box set released. It was basically, the Dead has a famous live album, Europe '72, and it was a show from that album was compiled from, basically.
Yep, it's the Olympia, Paris, May 3rd. Is that right?
That sounds right. Yeah, May 3rd, 1972.
You got it.
I also picked up a Warren Zevon box set called Preludes, which is rare and unreleased recordings.
Yep.
Super exciting.
Yep.
We both, Justin and I, picked up a Doors record, which is really interesting because it's like you see it. So there's not that many songs on the record. There's like probably 20 tracks and maybe 4 songs. You get like multiple takes of each song, and you kind of see the progression of the song in the studio. So that's pretty interesting.
It is.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see what you think about it and potentially borrow it from you.
Absolutely.
See what you think.
Yeah.
I know my sister Heather went out and picked up a bunch of stuff. Like, they were super excited. Oh, Joni Mitchell too. Don't forget Joni Mitchell.
Joni Mitchell. Yep.
Joni Mitchell.
I did pick that up. Yep.
And Heather and Ray got Joni Mitchell.
Did they get that too?
Yeah.
What else did they get?
They got the Roberta Flack release because there was a Roberta Flack release.
Wow, I didn't see that.
Well, no, maybe I'm full of shit. I thought
But you
there
started
was.
saying something. You said there was something that you really wanted, and then that's how you start. That's why you started talking about. You said there was a hot release, and then you said that you called the record stores, but then you never said what the release was.
Oh no, I was calling them about the Grateful Dead.
Oh.
Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, so when I was calling these record stores, they were like jumping me off at the pass because I'm like, hey, how many copies of? And like 2 record stores both cut me off, and they're like, listen, if you're looking for this, we don't have any, or we only have one. And it was that fucking cassette box set from Motley Crue.
Oh, wow.
It was like the first 5 Motley Crue studio releases, but they were
cassette.
on cassette.
And you wanted that.
No, I didn't want it. But what I'm saying was the guy at the record store assumed
That's why you were calling?
Yes.
So he's getting a lot of calls
a
about
lot
that
of
fucking
calls
cassette
about
box
that
thing.
fucking cassette box.
Wow.
Yeah. Which I have to admit is fucking hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Because I think I had 4 of those cassettes when I was a child.
4 Motley Crue cassettes?
Oh yeah.
Nice.
I had Shout at the Devil on tape.
Okay.
I had Girls, Girls, Girls on tape. I had Theater of Pain on tape, and I had Dr. Feelgood on tape. The only one that I was missing out of that box set as a child was Too Fast for Love, which I thought sucked.
Not even
like,
familiar.
Young Mike thought that
Little
sucked.
Mike was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Grown up Mike still has a soft spot, especially for Theater of Pain and Girls, Girls, Girls. I have a soft spot for hair metal.
It's kind of fun. I mean, I don't hate it by any means.
But
I'm not going to go
like,
buy the cassette box, the box cassette.
especially like the uber misogynistic version of hair metal that Motley Crue was, because Motley Crue was just about fast cars
and
fast
girls.
motorcycles and chicks.
Yeah. What else is there?
I mean, if you're in a hair metal band, I don't think there is anything
Yeah.
else.
You don't have much time to focus on anything else.
I mean, honestly, if you want a really good time, you should definitely pull up a YouTube of the video for Girls, 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 because that's just fun.
Looking
And
for a
those
good
guys-
time.
Well, yeah, because when those guys made that video, they were like, hey, so we wrote this song basically all about strippers. What should we make the music video about? I don't know. How about just a music
Walking
video
through the
filled
park,
with
feeding the
strippers?
birds.
So, listen. Oh, you son of a bitch! I was gonna say, like, let's cheers, record store day.
Cheers, record store day.
We all got what we
I'll
wanted.
drink again.
Me, thanks to you guys. Thank you guys.
Absolutely. There's also what I was curious if you were talking about was there was a Fela Kuti record that was released, and they didn't even have it at they didn't even have it at Vinyl Cup or Marv's.
I saw that Fela Kuti.
We were in line at ZZZ, like I said, and they had like 1 copy. But we went back later. This is actually kind of funny. We were total dicks, to tell you the truth. I feel bad about this, but we had already gone to
Tomorrow.
the other ones, and I
Waited
think
in line
maybe we,
multiple times.
maybe we had a drink before. I can't remember if the drink was before or after this, but we drove by. We just drove up to ZZZ. There's like a line outside, and the proprietor of ZZZ is standing outside at a desk. We just drive up, open out the window. We're like, "Yeah, Fela Kuti," yell it out the window, and he's like, "Let me go check for you." And we're like, "Sweet, thanks."
You dickheads.
And he goes over and checks, and then he's like, "Nope." And we're like, "All right, see ya." We drove on. We didn't think about it at the time. We're like, "Wow, that was a total asshole move what we just did."
That's
So
a pretty dick move that
Yeah.
you just pulled on that poor bastard.
definitely, yeah.
Well, we got some hot takes this week. In fact, one
do.
of the record store day releases we're going to get to, not first, but we will get to it second. And so we can talk about that then. But with that being said, what do you say?
Let's dive in.
I would love to.
345.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Springsteen, The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Reeling from the commercial fizzle of his debut LP, Bruce Springsteen threw off the new Dylan baggage and applied his Jersey bar band skills to some of the funniest tunes he'd ever write. Rosalita, Kitty's Back, and the Boardwalk love song 4th of July, Asbury Park, parenthetically, Sandy. The music is loose, jazzy, and full of ambition, a studio take on the live muscle that Springsteen was already famous for, And New York City Serenade is the first of Springsteen's epic street operas.
I think I shared this with you already. So many people love Bruce Springsteen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, fucking love this guy.
He's called the boss.
Follow him around, like, see him multiple times. And I never understood why. Because, like, when I was growing up, my first memory of Bruce Springsteen was fucking Born in the USA. And I thought to myself, man, that guy's, like, really old and he's fucking weird. And he's singing this, like, bizarrely patriotic song that I couldn't connect to at all.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, yeah, fuck him. And I never got into it. And then, like, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was having a conversation with Lee Stamper where I'm like, dude, I don't fucking get Bruce Springsteen. And I feel like a dipshit because millions of people fucking love this guy.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it at all. And Lee Stamper's like, dude, I totally feel you. I'm the same way. Like, I don't fucking get it either. And I'm just like, man, there's fucking gotta be something that can get me to get Bruce Springsteen.
It was this record?
I fucking love it, dude. I totally fell in love with this record. Absolutely fell in love with this record.
I'm not sure that I feel as strongly, but I feel the same way, but just, attenuated a little tiny bit.
Okay.
Which, again, if I listen, I don't know how many times you listen to it. I probably only listened to it like 2-3 times. But if I listen to it more, stuff kind of grows on me.
Yeah.
As anybody else. But yeah, it was the same story. Like, I was talking to Lee Stamper just last night, actually, and he was like, his first reaction to seeing Bruce Springsteen on the list was like, you. And I was like, you know what? That was kind of my first reaction too, just because of what I've heard of him. I wasn't super into, and he's just so famous, and you just kind of get this image in your head of Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And it's just a little cheesy to me. A lot of his mainstream stuff, a little gimmicky almost. It's not the right word for it. But
no, but literally what's burned in my head is like this guy who doesn't even appear to be able to move because he's got so many fucking bandanas wrapped around his neck and he's got like this tight denim jacket on and he can like barely like strum his guitar.
He's like convulsing up there. Yeah.
And I'm just like, God, fuck, dude. Like, take it easy.
Calm down.
Like,
Don't pass out. Yeah.
I don't know what's happening, but this scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's still what I think about when I think about Bruce Springsteen. I'm worried that he has a neck injury.
But yeah, and I encouraged Lee to listen to this because I was like, that's whatever I expected is not what I got on this. Even from the very, very first track, the E Street Shuffle.
That song.
I was like, what the fuck is this? It's like a funk jam.
Yes. And that's funny because they use the word jazzy. Like Rolling Stone uses the words, they say loose and jazzy.
There's jazzy elements for sure, but I mean that specific song
was super funky, dude.
Yeah.
Like really, really funky. But I guess this was what I was always missing to me because everybody knows this by now. If you've listened to any of these episodes, I'm a fucking sucker for horns. A huge sucker for horns. And this combines like everything that you want. Like storytelling in the lyrics. So like really, really kind of fun songs to listen to. You get a wonderful mix of horns and rock. And then you get these different you get other different genre elements that get mixed through, right? So funk is what you see in the E Street Shuffle. But then you have, much more of a ballady type song by the time that you get to New York Serenade. Like, what did they call it? They called it an epic street opera.
Yes. Yeah.
But then you also have like Wild Bill's Circus Story, which is just so fucking goofy, but it really works for me. Like, I'm down because I had fun listening to the story.
And I actually really liked the mandolin on that.
Yes.
And throughout the record, Bruce plays the mandolin.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't dig deep into the personnel because I didn't want to get lost in the E Street band.
Because there's a lot of them, yeah.
Yeah, I
think he plays the mandolin and he plays guitar, obviously, but there's some really legit mandolin parts on that song in particular. There's like a dual mandolin line. That's a nice little folky ballad for sure. And yeah, like you said, storytelling. And another part musically that stuck out to me about that song in particular is that there was no bass guitar. The tuba was playing the bass line.
Actually, so that's where I was going to go. So I didn't make any note of the mandolin, but the tuba and the accordion on Wild Bill's Circus Story they're great. And it's so bizarre because you don't expect to hear
a tuba playing
a
the bass.
goddamn tuba, dude.
But it was like
so
a tuba
crazy.
playing like a traditional bass
A
line.
bass line.
Like a little boom, 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 like what you
I know.
expect to hear in like a country ballad, but it was the tuba playing it.
Yeah. Kitty's Ball. I really
Kitty's Back.
really- or Kitty's Back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I loved
I
that
can't
one.
read my own fucking handwriting.
I run into that problem so often throughout this podcast.
But that's just a straight blues rocker, right? I mean, that's like a full-on just a blues tune. I think that's all it is.
Yes. What's some really cool like timing changes that I liked a lot when it went to the chorus, it like totally changed timing.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a really cool bridge on this song.
Yes.
And that kind of leads me to what really stuck out to me about this record was how great the instrumental sections were and how long they were.
Yeah.
Like for some reason, when I thought Bruce Springsteen, I was thinking singer-songwritery, but like kind of like a cheesier, like almost like commercial worthy, version of singers. Yeah,
like a Chevy truck commercial.
Yeah, yeah.
Songwriter shit.
Yeah, like makes you want to go out and build Ford tough, Like, but it just it wasn't that.
It
really.
wasn't that at all, and that's like I said, this one. I don't know how deep I'm gonna dive into Bruce Springsteen's discography. I don't. You know what I mean? Like,
I think you'll get a chance to go a little bit deeper as we go further on the list.
I think I will too. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the list inform me as to what I should start with, and then maybe use some of those titles to kind of meander off the beaten path a little bit. But I don't know. Like this album was so redemptive. I actually added this to my digital library. Wow. Because this is something that, dude, I listened to it 5 times. I kept going back to the well on this one because I enjoyed it so much.
I liked it, but I did not add to the digital library.
And I actually wanted to, I was hoping on Saturday afternoon on Record Store Day, like not to get a Record Store Day release, but to go into Waterloo Records. And I was hoping that I could find
this one.
Yeah.
I would buy it if I could find it too. Yeah, I would buy it.
Yeah, and I might even go out onto Discogs because something tells me that this is one that you can find on Discogs for like $10.
$10. Yeah, for me, this is more one that if I came across it,
used,
I would buy it, but I'm not going to seek it out.
I probably would.
But yeah, I did like it a lot more than I expected for sure. And like I said, just the instrumental, his band is really good.
Dude, the E Street Band is fucking money.
They are, and I liked how he said, how Rolling Stone said. A studio take on the live muscle that Springsteen was already famous for, because that's kind of how I felt. I was like, damn, this band would be really good to see live.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I agree. Did you read anything about Rosalita?
Trying to see if I wrote any notes about it. I don't think so. No.
Okay, so before we move on, I do want to tell this funny little story about Rosalita. So after this record came out, Rosalita became the go-to closer.
Okay.
Literally every fucking night.
Every night.
That's how they closed out the show, because it was like this big fan favorite. It was a huge sing-along. Everybody loved it. And so he was doing it.
He was doing it every night.
Every fucking night. He was closing the show with it. And it was something that everybody looked forward to. And they were just like, Gaga over it. Until one day, I think it was 1986. I don't know that I made that good of copious notes on it. Oh, no, 1989. Okay, so in 1989, he was just like, fuck this song. Literally, dude, like every single show, they closed with Rosalita from 1973 up until 1989.
Well, he brought that on himself. Obviously, you're going to burn out.
And then he was like, fuck this.
Never playing it again.
And they basically never fucking played it again. They didn't play that song for... it had to have been like 12 years, and fans would like show up with these fucking signs to the show. Signs like,
Rosalita,
bring Rosie out tonight.
Oh,
let's see Rosie tonight.
Where's
like,
Rosie?
Exactly.
Take her out to play.
All of these kind of like, where's Waldo fucking Rosalita signs for over a decade before he finally fucking, basically fans cajoled him into bringing it back. And he was like, all right. And now every once in a while, you'll get a Rosalita. But
that's definitely like a
go figure after 16 years.
Yeah.
He fucking burns himself out on a song.
Right. Yeah. I imagine, it just built up over the years, and then one day he's just like, I'm done forever.
He shows up to the stadium and he's like, guys, tonight, I'm gonna fucking close with Born in the USA.
Okay.
And then Stevie Van Zandt's like, Bruce, are you okay? Are you doing well,
Yeah.
sir?
Wait, which one's Stevie Van Zandt?
He's a guitar player from The Sopranos.
Okay, so that's I was wondering. That's what I thought it was. I didn't
Yes.
realize until last night that Silvio from The Sopranos is in Bruce
Is in
Springsteen's
Bruce
band.
Springsteen's band.
I was like,
a
what?
big figure in Bruce Springsteen's band.
I guess.
too.
Yeah, I've not followed Bruce Springsteen's band closely enough, but
Dude, you've clearly never watched a video of Bruce Springsteen's band.
that's right. I have not.
Because he's the guy that's always like puts his, like leans his back up against Bruce's back and they're like playing guitar together because
Oh,
he's the rhythm
jeez.
guitar. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he's that guy. He's that fucking guy. Only he wears a do-rag because
He wears a do-rag. He had hair in Sopranos, didn't he?
Silvio is fucking bald.
Wow.
I'm almost
Toupee?
well, actually I don't know that he's bald. That's definitely a fucking hairpiece in The Sopranos.
Wow.
For sure that's a hairpiece in The Sopranos.
You know what Rosalita reminded me of was Counting Crows.
Aw.
I don't mean it
Not in a bad way.
No.
Okay. As long as it's not in a bad way.
What's that one Counting Crows song? It's like,
Mr. Jones and
come on,
me.
don't put a little higher. What, I can't remember who that is,
Jesus,
but or no, I can't remember what the name of that song is, but it's Counting Crows, and that song sounded just like that. So obviously, he was a huge influence on them.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Listen, love the record. I will find this motherfucker and I will own it on vinyl and I'll spin it a lot because I've already listened to it a lot on digital and I'm gonna keep going back to that wall because I dug it.
I like it. Didn't feel as strongly as Mike. I will pick it up if I happen to come across it at a low price.
Okay, let's move
Moving on.
3 Faux Faux from 1973, Toots and the Maytals, their album Funky Kingston. Rolling Stone says, loose, funky, and exuberant Kingston is the quintessential document of Jamaica's greatest act after Bob Marley. Showcasing some of the Maytals' best songs, Pressure Drop, later covered by The Clash, and borrowing from soul, pop, and gospel, Funky Kingston introduced the world to the great Toots Hibbert. He performs a version of Louie Louie, and in a down-home surprise, John Denver's Take Me Home Country Roads. Fucking crushes that, by the way.
Yes.
With Toots changing the lyrics from West Virginia to West Jamaica.
Hell yeah.
We both absolutely adored this, right?
Yeah, this is amazing. So this I feel totally different about from the last one. I'll buy this on vinyl. I'll seek this one out for sure. Like I'll be looking for Toots and the Maytal records next time I go to the record store.
Now, are you going to look for like anything from Toots, or are you just going to look for this?
I want to look specifically for this, but if I see other stuff, I'll probably get it.
Yeah. I kind of feel the same way. But here's the thing. So there were multiple tracks that I put like 3 and 4 stars next to on that Springsteen record, especially the first track, like the E Street Shuffle. I put 4 stars next to. Really, really love that track. On Toots, here's the thing: I didn't put more than I don't think I put 3 stars next to. Well, I did. I put 3 stars next to Funky Kingston, and that's it. But that doesn't mean that this wasn't enjoyable to me. That doesn't mean that I didn't like this. It's a really great reggae record. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
But it's all like, it's not adventurous in any way in my mind. Like it doesn't.
Not necessarily, but it's just like what you want to hear when you think reggae. Like it just
Without
kind
a
of
doubt.
captures all the elements of just fucking amazing reggae. Like the vocal harmonies on it are insane.
Yeah.
The dual guitar players, the interplay between them is perfect. The songwriting is good. For me, I put 3 stars next to 4 songs, and I put 4 stars next to 2 songs.
Ooh, which songs did you put 4 stars next to?
I put 4 stars next to Louie Louie and Pomps and Pride. I loved both of those. Fantastic horns on those. This just felt so good to me, and I was a sucker for the bass player. I loved every line that he played on that entire record. Yeah, he was amazing.
The bass player crushed.
I actually sent that song to one of my bass students and said, we're going to learn this one. And Pomps and Pride, just, again, with the bass player. And I literally wrote next to this one, I wrote, buying this vinyl for show. So once I got to that one.
And listen, I'm right there with you. My my only rub is just that because it's a great reggae record, it can't be anything more than that. Does that make sense?
You think it's like limiting?
Yeah. Yeah, because reggae in and of itself to me is super limiting. You know? There's no such thing as exploratory reggae.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty.
There's not.
It's a little bit limiting, yeah. Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it that way, but
The sound is very. Listen. Nobody ever surprises you by putting on a reggae record where you're like, "Whoa, is this reggae, bro?" That doesn't ever happen.
yeah.
Because you get the same sound from the guitar. You get the bass, like you might.
Well, there
get a
are
little
specific
bit of,
elements that make it reggae. But I mean, I feel like you could make that argument about other genres. And I feel like there's certainly some variance within reggae. Maybe
what other,
like
give me
albeit
another
less
one.
than some other ones. I think a lot of like pure punk has a lot of the same elements to it. Like I'm not talking about all the subgenres like pop punk or post punk or whatever. But if you're just talking like punk, there's a lot of similar elements there.
Okay,
There's
no.
room for interpretation, but so is there here. You know what I mean?
Okay, but is there like a pop reggae versus like a post?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's
reggae?
certainly other like genres that have spawned, like ska from reggae.
But
and then
ska is just that, right? Like ska is ska. It's not reggae. It's ska.
It's like a subgenre of reggae, I would probably argue,
Mm.
or
I would
developed
have that
from
argument
that.
with you. I'd have that argument with you.
It certainly came from it,
Without question.
you know.
But it also like it infused so many.
But you would say the same
other-
thing about other subgenres of punk, right? That's exactly what they were too. They took punk and they combined them with other elements of other genres. So I think it's the same situation. I'm not disagreeing with you. I do
Yeah.
think that reggae is a little more specific
It
than
is.
most other genres.
Yeah.
And that but I'm just trying to. I just like reggae, so I'm trying to
No.
work
Listen,
around the argument.
Stop. No. You don't. I don't think that you have to defend. You don't have to defend yourself. This fucking record is great.
Yeah.
Like absolutely great. I added this one to digital. I'm right there with you. Like I'm gonna seek this out. Probably the same time that I buy Bruce Springsteen. If I have to go the Discogs route, like I'll buy this one in the same order. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I'm not. And I love this, dude. I really, really loved it. And this isn't even a critique. It's just an observation that reggae, traditional reggae, is self-limiting.
Yeah.
Because as soon as it's not reggae, it's been called something else.
So
You know what I mean?
and I think this is just an interesting conversation to have. So like,
It is.
to you, what are the things that make it reggae?
So the feel of the beat, does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Like the way that the instrumentation and the drums, like it kind of it drags the beat a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, like it almost feels lazy, but it's like an intentional kind of lazy feel that gives it, like that's what gives it the heart, right? The guitars, the tone of a reggae guitar is almost ubiquitous, right? Like it doesn't change from band to band, and it's like a really bright,
Trebly,
it's like a
scratchy.
really bright, yeah, kind of trebly, scratchy guitar. You know, sometimes you get steel drums, but not all the time. And honestly, I think steel drums are trite. I don't think steel drums appeared at all on this
No, they
record.
didn't. Not that I heard,
Yeah.
at least.
Standard bass tone. Like there's no such thing as a fucking distorted bass in reggae.
Well,
You
no,
don't get
but
it.
it's a little. I don't know if I would say it's pretty round. It's pretty. Tone is like rolled all the way off, so it's almost like a little dubbier than standard bass. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then you get, and the only variation that you get in my mind is the vocals, right? Whoever's providing the vocals, Bob's voice is unique. I think Toot's voice is pretty unique. But what's not unique, and actually, I don't even want to go there. Like, yeah, that's going to be the only variance that you get is tonality and vocals in my mind.
It's
Because-
definitely like tonality and vocals. I do think that there is some room for variance in terms of just chord progressions and stuff like that. Although they tend to use a lot, some people tend, but I mean that could be argued about any genre though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. Like you're not going to like. Of course, chord progressions are going to change and be different from song to song, from artist to artist. Like that's a given. But again, like, and that's where it's not a knock, dude. Like I don't want you to think that I'm being critical.
I don't think that at all. I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. So I think
it is
one we should
because I don't think that when you compare, Funky Kingston to Legalize It to if you want to do Legend, you could do Legend just because that's the greatest hits from Bob Marley. But
yeah,
you could pick any Bob Marley record, and realistically, I don't think that if you compared all of those things, like the feel of the beat, right, the instrumentation relative to the drums, the tone of the bass, the tone of the guitar, the only variances in my mind that you're going to get are from a vocal standpoint. I don't think that, like, I don't necessarily know that any other thing that you're going to draw differences from between any of those like super traditional reggae artists. I mean, it's going to be really like really specific when you say, oh no, now this is totally different from what Toots does to what Bob Marley does. You know what I mean? I think you're going to see 95% of that sound and that feel is going to be ubiquitous. It's going to be there. That 5% variation, I think, is going to come primarily from vocals. Like, it's not going to come from song construction. It's not going to come from the feel of the beat relative to the instrumentation. It's reggae.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. Like,
no, it's not at all.
I enjoy reggae, but you don't get a lot of exploration because the exploration within reggae is what spawned ska.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So other genres,
yeah. Other genres came from it. Like, this is a Godfather genre.
To me, like, the defining aspect of reggae is the absence of the one. Okay? Because that is what reggae is based on, is the upbeat, is the emphasis. Like things like...
Yep. Especially on the guitar.
So
particularly with the guitar.
But even on the bass. So the bass never plays on the one. Like, listen back to, like, and that's something people don't realize very much. Listen back to, like, any of the Bob Marley tunes, especially the real, like, because there are some Bob Marley tunes that, while they may be reggae, they don't, like, there are some songs that just feel super reggae. They just like really have that
for sure
characteristic, what you expect to hear when you think reggae.
Yeah.
And that it's just never, the bass is just absent on the one. And so it's interesting because I'm trying to figure out why it's limiting, because I don't disagree that it is limiting. But I'm trying to figure out what it is about that, because in my opinion, that's really like you mentioned some other things, but in my opinion, the big thing that makes it reggae is the absence of the one. And I'm trying to figure out, I guess it's just because it's such a unique feel, and very few other genres really incorporate that. But so it just kind of makes it, maybe the fact that it's so unique makes it feel like it's like there's not a lot of room for exploration. But I remember actually John Fishman, who's the drummer for one of me and Mike's favorite bands, Fish. He was like talking about reggae drumming once, and he was talking about how, like, if you write it out on paper, it's just because the absence of the one, it's just like blues drumming, but just flipped it exactly upside down. And he's like, that's all it is you just take blues drumming, you flip it upside down, and you have reggae. But yeah, that's interesting.
Now, all that being said, that's funny. I appreciate the fact that you enjoyed Louie. I enjoyed Take Me Home Country Roads a lot more.
Loved that one.
Louie.
Yeah, I loved that one too.
It was a more enjoyable cover for me than what Louie was. Not that any of them were bad or anything along those lines, but the other one was the John Denver cover was just fucking classic, man. Because I didn't anticipate to hear that song, at all. Certainly not by a reggae artist.
Was Louie a cover?
Yeah, of course Louie is a cover. Louie. Oh, man.
Who's that by original?
Let me go. Fuck, I don't know. I'll use the Googler machine.
Oh, Richard Berry. I found it.
All right, there you go.
I didn't even realize that though.
And made famous by the Kingsmen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Country Roads cover was super cool. That's
So
not what you
classic.
expected to hear at all, right?
No, but I love the reggae take on
Yeah, me too.
Take Me Home.
Yeah.
Love the reggae.
I love the
take.
lyric changes too.
Mhm.
Almost heaven, West Jamaica.
Listen, I want to get your feel for this, and then I want to circle back to Springsteen on this too. What obviously we both liked it. We had it to digital. We're going to dig around for the vinyl. What do you think about the placement of this?
I think it's good. I don't want to see it go down at all. I'll tell you the truth, just because I think that reggae is a super important genre. And again, I've never been about like, oh, we need to be inclusive and like include all these different genres just for the sake of including them. I think the best albums of all time are the best albums of all time. But I think that reggae albums belong to be on the list of the best albums of all time for sure.
Yes.
And I think that this one is a good representation of it. I think it's fantastic representation. And I do think we're going to get Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Maybe top 100 for like legend. Well, do you think so? Or you think top 200?
I'd take top 100 for legend.
I'd bet that too. Yeah.
And legend is one of the few that like that is like that's a greatest hits album, but that's a greatest hits album that I like. I'm not even gonna argue with should it be on this list because fuck yeah it should, and it should be super super high. Even though I'm getting ready to shit all over a greatest hits album here in just a minute.
But what other reggae albums do you think will be on here?
The only other one that I could think of would be Legalize It from Peter Tosh.
Peter Tosh, yeah. I could see that being on here. But in terms of pure reggae, I don't know. I mean, we're going to probably get some Sublime, don't you think? But that's not really reggae.
No.
I mean, it is reggae, but it's more
that's
so
ska,
weird, dude.
Yeah. Like, that's ska, that's punk. That's reggae.
Yeah. Do you think we get Sublime on here?
Tell me this. What Sublime do you think we get on here?
What album has all the songs? I don't know. I don't really know a whole lot of like Sublime records. I just kind of listen to Sublime songs.
I love Sublime.
Or 40 Ounces of Freedom, right?
Well, would you get 40 Ounces of Freedom or would you get the self-titled record? Because the self-titled record definitely had way more radio hits on it. I mean, it had their biggest song, right? What I Got.
40 Ounces of Freedom has Smoke Two Joints. It has Bad Fish. It has Scarlet Begonia's cover.
Listen, 40 Ounces of Freedom.
KRS-One. 40
Ounces of Freedom is the better record. Like I will happily admit that. But from a commercial standpoint, the self-titled, the posthumously released self-titled Sublime album was wildly more successful than 40 Ounces of Freedom.
So that has What I Got, Wrong Way, which is probably one of my personal favorite.
I love Wrong Way.
Yeah.
I love Santeria too.
It's got Santeria. It's got Pawn Shop, Caress Me Down, Doing Time.
It's a lot, dude.
That's going to be on here, don't you think?
I don't know. Because honestly,
I'm trying not to look at the weekend because it's going to say if it's on there.
If either one of those records are on this list, I'm a little bit surprised that we haven't encountered one of them, to be really honest with you. Because we're starting to get, and this was, we've been talking about this over the past couple of weeks, but we're really starting to get into, we're starting to get into elevated territory.
Really, really legit stuff.
Yeah, like we shouldn't encounter records that we're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, we shouldn't feel that way.
Not at all.
Although we probably will.
But, yeah, we probably will.
Because this list sucks.
Okay, so I'm with you. Like, I'm good with Toots right where he's at. We didn't talk about that with Bruce, though.
Yeah, what do you feel about that?
I actually like the placement. Like, I don't hate it. I don't think that it's too low. I don't think that it's too high either. Like, I'm good with this plus or minus 10 from where it's at. Like, I'm solid with it.
I could see it knock down 30 or 40, and I wouldn't be upset about it. I know we're gonna get more Bruce Springsteen. We're gonna get what's the one? Born to Run or something.
Born to Run.
Yeah, we're gonna get that for sure.
Yep, and that's gonna be
high as
really
fuck.
high.
Yeah. So I can see that one go down a little bit, but I'm not like upset about it being where it is, and it certainly belongs on there.
Do you think we get Born in the USA on this motherfucker?
Probably. I bet that they're both on there. Yeah.
See, now I've never listened to the entire record of Born in the USA, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's too fucking high. If it's above this one.
Yeah, I get you.
And I know that's stupid, but whatever. Okay.
Well, let's, before we move on, let's read Rex's thoughts on both Bruce Springsteen and Funky Kingston. So here's Rex on Bruce Springsteen. This fucking album is a motherfucking jewel. That's 2 F words in the first sentence. Love everything about E Street Shuffle. That was a surprising jam straight out of the gate. Agree with you there, Rex.
Yep.
This is a lively album that will get you dancing in the street. The song Rosalita just screams block party playlist. Great album. Definitely a great spot for this album. So yeah,
Nice.
agrees with you 100%.
Beautiful.
And then Rex on Toots and the Maytals, Funky Kingston. Another fun album to listen to. Nice sounding horn section, soul-filled vocals. I really dig their version of Louie Louie. It's a lot more laid back, and you can understand the lyrics. There's a concept. It isn't as lively as the original. I think it's more of a party jam. Also, Country Roads is a pretty good cover of the John Denver classic. Good album, should be closer to 400 than his current spot.
Fascinating. So he's swippy swapped.
Yeah,
He's swippy swapped. Your thoughts?
that's right. Okay, should we move forward? You say anything else
Absolutely.
about those two?
No, because
Okay.
we got to talk about this next one.
We got some stuff to talk about here, huh?
Yeah.
343 is Sly and the Family Stone Greatest Hits. Sly and the Family Stone created a musical utopia, an interracial group of men and women who blended funk, rock, and positive vibes. Sly Stone, the family mastermind, was one of the 60s most ambitious artists, making up the hardest funk beats with hippie psychedelia on hits such as Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself Again. Greatest hits ranges from gospel-style ballads such as Everybody's a Star to rump shakers like Everyday People.
Man alive. First of all, I fucking hate greatest hits albums. God damn it. Even though we just got done talking about how Legend is absolutely a greatest hits album, and I really, really.
Hey, you said you
love
wouldn't
it.
mind seeing that one on there.
Listen, I'm going to see it on here, and I'll be super happy whenever I find it because I already own it on vinyl. I love Legend, even though it's a greatest hits record. But this one, when I listen to the first half of a greatest hits album from a really big band like Sly and the Family Stone, and I'm like, God damn, when are they going to get to the greatest hits? That's a problem, right?
So there were songs that you wanted to hear that weren't on here?
There are songs that I heard on the first half of this record that it was the first
That
time
you
that
just
I'd
didn't
ever
like.
heard them.
Yeah.
No, it's the first time that I'd ever. It's fucking Sly and the Family Stone, right?
Yeah.
How does the A side of his greatest hits not have Everyday People? How is that not one of the first 3 songs?
Agreed. Especially, yeah, given like the timing. When was this released?
In 1970.
Yeah, I mean, like that was definitely a thought. Like these days, like A side, B side is almost not even a thought when you put out a record.
Dude,
But
that
back then
was
it was.
serious
Yeah.
thought.
No, yeah, for
B-sides
sure.
were just that. Like B-sides were like, oh yeah, these fuckers recorded these songs too. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, the last song is definitely their biggest song, right?
Yeah, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself.
Yeah.
How is that not the very first track on this
On a
fucking
greatest
record?
hits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they wanted it to make it kind of a journey where it ramped up as you went. And that's my only logical thought. But I agree with you 100% on that.
It was really weird. Okay, so Dance to the Music is a phenomenal song. Everyday People is a mind-blowingly phenomenal song.
Everyday People.
Dude, that fucking song smashes. And then Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself is just, it's absurdly good.
Most of this I thought was really good. But yeah, I'm with you. Like there were a couple. You didn't know the first song? You knew
No.
the first song.
No.
I Want to Take You Higher?
I Want to Take You Higher. No, not really.
Wow. Yeah. See, I mean, that I feel like that's definitely one that probably most people know.
Yeah.
Maybe not though. Yeah. I knew that one.
Did
I
you know
don't-
Everybody's a Star?
I don't think so. No.
Stand? Life?
I believe I knew Stand. I don't think I knew Life. And I did not know Fun. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I knew You Could Make It If You Try. And of course, I knew Dance to the Music and Everyday People. But yeah, it is kind of a weird arrangement. The fact that a lot of these lesser known tunes are in the beginning, which if it's just a regular album, that makes sense. But being a greatest hits album,
Yeah. Now, I do want to say this. I was talking with Heather Barkley about this, and Heather found this on vinyl. She found a used copy of it. She picked it up, like absolutely loves it. and she said that on the vinyl, "Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself" is the first song on the A side.
Weird.
Yeah.
I wonder if
So-
it's a different version or something. Different
Well-
year of release.
I mean, when I was looking at it on Apple Music, like they were saying that that the one that I was listening to was the 1970 version, which usually they stay true to the track listing on that.
That's what Spotify had as well. I Want to Take You Higher first.
Now, what I'm a little bit curious about is hang on. I want to pull up. Excuse me. I want to pull up what Wikipedia has in terms of.
Because it could be a different release. Yeah, that's what I
Correct.
think we should look into.
All right. So, according to Wikipedia, the track listing for the 1970 version, dude, same fucking thing. So they're saying that side 1 starts with "I Want to Take You Higher," ends with "You Can Make It If You Try," and the B side starts with "Dance to the Music" and ends with "Thank You for Letting Me
Maybe
Be
Heather has
Myself."
some kind of weird bootleg copy or something.
Heather, you might have a bootleg copy. Or maybe because I think she was looking at like a picture of the cover, and maybe the picture of the cover just made it look a certain way. But Heather, like if you're watching on YouTube or when you listen to this or whenever, like I'll see you on Sunday if nothing else. Actually, I gotta go to her house on Sunday, so I'm gonna fucking look at this. I'm gonna
You investigate. Yeah, get back to us.
I'm gonna do a personal investigation of this.
We'll take photos too.
Oh,
Yeah.
evidence.
We'll put them up on Facebook.
We'll put them up on Facebook. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll see. Hopefully she's just wrong and she was just looking at something goofy. Either way, because I hate greatest hits albums, this needs to fall by 115 slots. I know that's really specific, but it does need to fall 115 slots for me, and then I'll be okay with it. But realistically, I would just as soon take this out entirely because Heather did confirm to me that
But
this is there
more,
is
right?
yeah, there is more Sly and the Family Stone that we get.
So I agree. If there's 3 more, and most especially if those other 3 have all of these fucking songs.
Thank you.
See, that's what I hate.
Which we're almost guaranteed that that's going to fucking happen.
If it's like a situation where none of the band's records are good enough, but they had so many amazing one-hit songs that their greatest hits is just that impactful, and we need to put that on the list. Okay, I can maybe get it, although I'm still not crazy about it. But if you're gonna put the same songs, the same recordings of the same songs,
Yeah.
multiple times,
Fuck off.
fuck you. Yeah.
Yep.
And so if that's the case, which I don't know that it is, but if that's the case, I want it off entirely.
Yeah.
You know?
Because this is literally taking the place of, we're going to talk about Smashing Pumpkins here in a little bit, but Smashing Pumpkins was contemporary for Alice in Chains, which doesn't fucking appear on this list, right? So Dirt could be here.
Yeah, it could be. And
the Flaming Lips, Yoshimi could be here.
yeah.
And if Yoshimi was at 343, I'd be like, that's about right.
And just to be 100% clear, I love Sly and the Family Stone.
I do.
I think they're amazing. And I'm
I
sure
do
you do
too.
too.
I do too.
But I want to see their albums on here. I don't want to see a compilation. I mean, and this is a little different because they probably compiled it themselves and it came out in 1970. But so it's not like it's a newer release or anything.
No.
But again, if it's going to be the same songs, then I don't want to see it on here. And we'll have to go back and revisit that later.
Yeah. Well, whenever we get to their later releases later on the list, like we can jump back and we can compare and we can see, because maybe this is the only way that we get Everyday People.
Because is that your favorite song? Let's talk favorites.
Yeah. Everyday People is tied with Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. I gave them both 4 stars because they're fucking jams.
I gave Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself 6 stars. That's the only song.
You're breaking the paradigm, and I love it.
I had to do it multiple times this week. Okay.
Really?
Just because there were a couple songs that I was like, yeah, I mean, there are just some songs, and maybe you can guess on what the other artist was that I gave more than 5 stars to. But it seems pretty obvious given the list for this week. But I mean, Thank You for Letting Me Be Myself. I think it's just first of all, one of the most classic funk bass lines of all time. hands down.
Yeah.
It's one of the first bass lines I teach to students when they start wanting to do slap bass. It's like one of the best ones to practice for that. The chorus is so fucking catchy on it.
Yeah.
Funky wah wah keys, great horns. Like I wrote this song is damn near perfect for a funk song.
I don't disagree with you. The chorus though on Everyday People
Is
get
amazing.
the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah, it's really
Like that
really
chorus is so ridiculously good.
And it's even really just one fucking line, right?
That's all it is.
Everyday people. Everyday people. That's all it is, right?
That's right. That's it.
It's so good though.
And it's 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's literally like the shortest motherfucker ever, but you can't argue with it. It's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. But if we see it again, we're gonna have
problems.
We're gonna have problems.
And speaking of that, let's read Rex's thoughts here, okay?
Yes, please.
Because you're gonna laugh. You're gonna laugh hard.
All right.
Rex's first sentence. Apparently, Rolling Stone didn't receive Mike's email about greatest hits albums. Is this?
Oh no, they did not.
And then he said, "Is this an album just like Endless Summer by the Beach Boys, where it's a compilation of singles from 45s?" No, it's not. I want to tell this album to fuck off. I can't. This album is good. It's chock full of soul. The bull rush vocals of Sly Stone are just monolithic at times. Wow.
Ooh,
As a
powerful.
descriptive word, yeah.
I know.
Another good album. I'm okay with its spot on the list. So, again,
Sorry, Rexy.
well, if there's no other Sly, sure, I'm good with it. It could even move up,
Unfortunately.
but there is more Sly.
There's more.
So, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on because we're getting ready. I think we're solidly in circle jerk territory at this point in time. So
This is a week of firsts, man. So first of all, it's our first first reggae record,
yes,
right?
absolutely,
I think it is.
absolutely.
And what else is it the first?
342. We get our first record from the Beatles. John, Paul, George, and Ringo from Liverpool from 1970.
The Beatles.
The Beatles. We're going to talk about Let It Be. Rolling Stone says, Let It Be is the sound of the world's biggest pop group at war with itself. John Lennon is at his most acidic. George Harrison's I Me Mine is about the sin of pride. Only Paul McCartney sounds focused, as if the title song were his personal survival mantra. The original concept was a live in the studio album and film begun in January 1969 that left the Beatles so weary that they abandoned the project to make Abbey Road. Phil Spector went back to the tapes later, sweetening ballads like Across the Universe and The Long and Winding Road. And fuck you, Rolling Stone. Phil Spector went back and he completely
Shit all over everything.
like as much as he possibly could. Now, granted, he didn't face fuck all of it, but god damn it, like fuck you. Like he didn't sweeten a goddamn thing. Like
that's going to be one of the topics of
criminal.
conversation today for us.
Yeah, because first of all, let's point out, and without giving me specifics, I was told that we are over 100 spots away from
the next
encountering our first Kanye record.
Over 100?
That's what I said.
I thought you were going to say over 100 from encountering the next Beatles.
No.
Did she give you any kind of indication
Nope.
as that?
No, she didn't tell me when we were going to get the next. So the she that we're talking about, everybody is Heather. 'Cause
Over
Heather has-
100 from Kanye.
Heather has the master spreadsheet, and
Jesus
obviously her and I
fucking
were.
Christ.
So literally, 808s and Heartbreaks, which I'm assuming is the first Kanye record that we're going to get. Because if it's not, fuck you again.
It's going to be
Rolling
Yeezus.
Stone. No, fuck you. No. There's no fucking way. Dude, Yeezus is a masterwork. I actually found Yeezus on vinyl when I was out in California, and god damn it, dude, that fucking.
Well,
record
they better
was-
fucking be a masterwork if they're in the top half of the 500 greatest albums of all time. Because this means that 6 Kanye records are in the top half if we're not going to get to them for another 100.
That's correct.
So it better fucking be a masterwork. And even if it was the bottom one, still, I mean, that's not
Okay.
saying anything bad about it.
All right.
That's
Listen.
nuts, man.
I know. Thank you. It's fucking bonkers. But all that being said, dude, there's so much to dig into here. So clearly this is now. I did not break the paradigm. I did not give any song 6 stars.
Broke the shit out of it.
But this was a record that I only gave 2. Well, all right, let me say this. Dig It can dig right the fuck off because that's not even really a fucking song. Like, that's just them fucking around in the studio.
Well, there's a couple songs like that, and they're not.
Maggie May is another one.
Dig
where
It,
it's
Maggie
just-
May. They're just silly. They're not supposed to be like, yeah.
It was like, that was Phil Spector being like, oh yeah, this is supposed to be the Beatles just hanging out in the studio. It's fucking dumb. Like, I didn't like them, but I will also, and I need to, I feel like I need to preface all my comments with, this was probably only like the second or third time that I've listened to this
full
particular
album. Yeah.
Well, no, this version of the album. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I've listened to Paul and Ringo got together in 2003 and they oversaw a project where they went back and they basically recut all of the songs and actually added a monstrously important song, in my opinion, and they re-released it and they called Let It Be Naked. So what they did was they stripped out all of the bullshit that Phil Spector added in there. It was just the tracks that the actual Beatles recorded in the studio. They remastered them, you know, as they thought the intention of the songs were, and then they released it. They called Let It Be Naked.
So
I've
good.
listened to Let It Be Naked fucking hundreds of times. It's like, it's right up there for me, man. Like, that Let It Be Naked it sits up there with Abbey Road. It sits up there with Sgt. Pepper's. I really, really love a lot of what they did on this record.
And for anyone that has a problem with this record, listen to Let It Be Naked. Because I talked to some
Absolutely.
people this week that were like, oh, worst Beatles record, Let It Be. Because for me, I wouldn't have, even though maybe it's not my favorite record, I would not have expected to see this record as the lowest one on the list.
I agree.
I would have maybe thought, for some reason, I was thinking Revolver was going to be the lowest one on the list.
I would have said, and this is going to sound so sacrilege because it's got so many great songs on it, but Magical Mystery Tour to me is one that sits a little bit lower just because it's so whimsical.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It would not have been Let It Be for me. But anyways, so I had some people that they reacted the opposite of what I did. And they were like, oh yeah, worst Beatles record. And I was like, listen to Let It Be Naked because it is totally different. The songs, they just feel so different. It's especially, not every song feels that much different, but certain ones really, really do.
Certain ones are so remarkably different.
Yeah.
Like, unbelievably so. When you listen to Across the Universe without like all of the bullshit strings, when you listen to the Long and Winding Road without all of that,
Yeah. All those weird choir vocals that just don't even, they just feel like they take the focus. And that Long and Winding Road is one of the biggest examples of that. It just feels like it's distracting.
It removes the intimacy from the song.
There's no intimacy. You don't get that authenticity. You don't get that organicness of feeling like you're listening to the Beatles play a song that they wrote.
Yeah.
You get like it's just kind of overproduced bullshit, and it just doesn't come across as them. It comes across as Phil Spector.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And I feel the same way about the title track too. Like, Let It Be as the title track. When you strip away all of that crap that Phil Spector added in there, it is, man, it's so fucking beautiful. Like, it's just such
an amazing
beautiful
song. But that being said, it was all. I felt kind of funny taking notes on Let It Be. I was like,
what are you gonna say?
What am I possibly gonna say about Let It Be? Am I gonna be like, hey guys, you know what? I listened really closely, and actually, this song fucking sucks. I don't know what you guys have been thinking this whole time. I didn't know what to write.
I literally, so these are my notes for Let It Be. This is quintessential Beatles. What more to say? This is canon.
Yeah.
Like, to me, like, this is canon for the Beatles.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
like probably one of the most famous rock songs of all time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah.
Yes. I Me Mine, though, particularly the naked version of I Me Mine, when you think about what they were going through and when you think about what George was saying with that song lyrically, fuck me, dude. That song is powerful as shit, dude. Like,
you know what?
Really powerful.
I really love the lyrical aspect of that. And I totally agree. Like, especially because George Harrison just kind of seems like this cool guy sitting in the corner, like observing like these dumbasses fight each other, basically, right?
Yes,
And he's like,
exactly.
bunch of selfish fucks. And then he wrote this song.
Assholes.
But like other than that, it's just the song itself didn't speak that much to me personally. Like just the musical aspect of it. The lyrics did 100% to be clear.
And
But other than that, it's just kind of a blues song, you know.
Yeah, and that's the power. The song, for me, the resonation of it is just knowing the backstory of Let It Be, knowing how acrimonious it was, and the lyrics of that song, which George does that a lot for me. Like George hits me, like he hits me in the feels with like his lyrics.
He's so thoughtful.
So frequently, like just magically thoughtful.
Yeah. So then I totally agree.
Yeah. But so Dig a Pony might be one of my favorite choruses of fucking all time.
All I want is you.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
I love the build up to it. I love how I love how the verse like builds up to the chorus and then it blue balls you and it goes back.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
It just smashes right back down. Oh,
yep.
That's
a great song. Fantastic. I have no fucking idea what the lyrics mean on that song. Do you?
No.
Does anybody?
My favorite, without question, is the verse where he starts with, let's roll a stony. Like, that's just such a, like, it's so fun and it's so clever to think about the Beatles just being like, you know what? So let me just roll a joint. All right. Let me just roll a stony.
I do love that. But what does dig a pony mean? Because I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
I was like, is there something that I'm just a dumbass and I'm just missing out on here? And I don't understand what he's trying to say and it's some deep meaning. No, I don't think so.
I don't think you're missing anything. I've got a feeling.
Love it. The classic is 2 chords. Oh, hey, speaking.
Yeah, listen, go wherever you want to go. Dude.
Well, I was almost thinking this is just a conversation that maybe we can just have off the podcast. But we do have a couple of Fish fans that are listening in to the podcast. That is almost the exact guitar part that starts the song as Prince Caspian. And you could say that about a lot of songs because it's just a 1/4, but like it's almost exactly the same thing.
Okay.
So like almost note for note, rhythmically, it's exactly the same.
Nice.
It's basically like Trey Anastasio just straight up riffed it off of I Got a Feeling and then just changed the words and the feel of the song.
And I don't hate that.
I don't either. I'm not bad about it,
Yeah.
but I was just like, I remember reading that like years ago. I was like on a thread about songs that were ripping off other songs, and someone was like, "Fish, Prince Caspian." It's just I Got a Feeling, and so this is like years ago. Ever since then, I've known that.
Okay, so if you strip out Dig It and Maggie May, which fuck you, Phil, like fuck you for putting them on your bullshit version of this record. Let's go with your least favorite. Like, what are your least favorite?
Least favorite other than
Maggie May and Dig It, because those are just stupid.
1 After 909.
Songs. Okay.
And not that I didn't like it, because I like almost all the other songs.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just a straight up blues.
It's a blues romp.
It's got some good Sullivan on it, and they do it really well. But it's not like I like the rest of them more.
Yeah. My least favorite was probably For You Blue.
Because that was what I was thinking, but I liked that one more than 1 After 909. I like the falsetto vocals on that.
Yeah.
That was a fun one.
I
love Get Back. That in terms of like bluesy Beatles.
Oh yeah, dude. It's really good. To me,
Get
it's like
Back.
right up there with Come Together on Abbey Road.
Amazing single or amazing chorus is what I'm
Yeah.
gonna say. Yeah, so good. What was your favorite song other than Let It Be?
Okay. Do I have to stay with songs from this record?
Are you gonna pick Don't Let Me Down?
Dude, in all honesty, Don't Let Me Down might be my favorite track on this entire record.
That was from another record though, right?
I don't know. Like, I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure out if the Beatles had released Don't Let Me Down outside.
I'm pretty sure they did, and I think for some reason they decided. I was confused why it was on this album because I thought it was from a different one. I'm looking that up.
I don't think that it was. I don't think that it was ever commercially released on something else.
Recorded during the Let It Be sessions, but never. That is a
Never
crime, dude.
released.
Then yeah,
Thank you. Right? I mean, I feel like an asshole saying that, but dude, that song, and if you've never heard "Don't Let Me Down," goddamn you, go out, listen to it. It's only, according to what JD can find on the interwebs, you can only find it on Let It Be Naked.
Well, it was released as a B-side to Get Back.
Okay, so it was on the single for Get Back. Is that right?
And then say it again.
So that was released as a 45. Get Back
Yes,
on one
correct.
side, Don't Let Me Down on the
But
other.
guess whose decision it was to drop Don't Let Me Down?
Fuck you, Phil Spector.
Indeed.
Dude,
Fuck you, Phil
that song is so magically good.
There are so many songs that I would have dropped from this record before Don't Let Me Down.
Before Don't Let
Almost
Me Down.
any song other than Let It Be or Long and Winding Road. I mean, I maybe would have even dropped Across the Universe as much as I love Across the Universe.
Listen,
Don't Let Me Down is incredible.
It's ridiculous.
It's an amazing song.
It's
a journey.
It's so good. And on Let It Be Naked, the way that those tracks play out, if I remember correctly, it that song comes right after I've Got a Feeling.
Yeah, because it's a different order. The Let It Be Naked is not the same order.
Totally. So Let It Be Naked opens with Get Back.
Yeah.
Which is so wonderful because like just the and it just like it really kind of drives you into it. Yeah, like it gets you into it in a different way because I think it goes Get Back, Dig a Pony, and then into For You Blue, I think is the way that Let It Be Naked track order goes. But it's a far more sensible tracking order just in terms of like kind of emotional tide and like the way that the album flows. I love it so much more, largely because I've listened to it so much more than what I've listened to this particular album. But on that record, I'm pretty sure you go from I've Got a Feeling, which is this like really big, exuberant kind of rocker, into Don't Let Me Down, which is, dude, that track has so much weight to it.
Such an amazing guitar part too. A beautiful. I mean, I teach that one a lot. So
do you really?
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
No, I perform that one too when I play gigs. That's one of my we do.
I love that song. Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I would, if I had to pick things to dump, like I would dump just about everything outside of Let It Be and Long and Winding Road.
Maybe we should We should think of it as a blessing, because then we didn't get fucking Phil Spector's Wallace Sound version of Don't Let Me Down.
Jesus Christ. He would have fucked.
He would have fucked that thing in the ass. You know what I mean?
Maybe that's why he didn't do it. It's because he couldn't figure out how to fuck that song up because it was so good. He was just like, you know what? I'll show them. I won't even put it on this son of a bitch.
Fuck this song.
I'm gonna give him Dig It and Maggie May. It'll be perfect.
What a weird decision he made. He's like, yeah, dig it, yeah, put it on there, yeah. but no to Don't Let Me Down.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Don't Let Me Down is ridiculous. But yeah, dude, this. Okay, so I already own the vinyl.
Let's talk about Long and Winding Road real quick.
Okay,
because what do you think about that song?
I have 5 stars.
I think
so. And I also, by the way, so I put 5 stars next to it, and then I put in parentheses, Naked or Nothing. Because
they fuck that one
if
up.
You're only going to give me Phil Spector's version, I don't even want it. I don't want any part of it.
Yeah. See, like I had like the same person that was telling me that Let It Be was their least favorite Beatles record said they don't like Long and Winding Road, which I think is a totally valid opinion based on the versions on the record. So I'm going to encourage them to listen to the naked version. But
you have to.
I love the melody so much that I can even stomach the Phil Spector version. It's not my preference or anything, but also that one starts off, the wall elements are not terrible at the beginning, and then it just kind of progressively gets more offensive as it goes. So, and by the end, you're just like so assaulted, and it's just
here's the thing, though. As a person that's listened to the naked version hundreds of times and only listened to this version a couple of times, when you get that the very top of the song, long and winding, to get that wah, bah, bah, like right at the top, it is it's terrible. I'm whoever it is that's like, I fucking hate that song. I'm right there with you, which is why I put it's Naked or Nothing.
Because I prefer that piano, just dun 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 dun. It's beautiful.
And
just
the
piano.
voice, the voice and the piano.
It's
let
beautiful.
that melody go, and it becomes so vulnerable and so powerful that when you put this giant cacophony of fucking orchestra behind it, Phil was like, "Oh, this is big. This is great." You don't want it to be big. You don't want.
To me, that's a song that would have been
bigness.
just fine with literally piano and vocal, nothing else.
Correct.
So
Absolutely correct.
But yeah, talk about breaking the paradigm. There were the two songs that I wrote more than 5 stars on were "Let It Be" and "Long and Winding Road."
Yeah.
And I mean, I doesn't even matter what number I wrote. At that point, it's just like an arbitrary number. It was just like 13,
28,
38.
stars.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. A bunch of fucking stars.
That's right.
You know?
And I mean, what I wrote on there is that my last sentence says, "This version is criminal, but the Naked version I wrote is near perfect." Like, it's almost a perfect fucking song when you strip out all of that goofy, fucking, stupid, dumb shit.
Unnecessary shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that song is amazing. It's incredible.
Okay, so realistically, Rolling Stone fucked up twofold. You never should have put this version of this record on this list, unequivocally. And that's not even I don't even think you can argue that, because again, anybody that says, yeah, this is the worst Beatles record, go and listen to the Naked version and come talk to me. Because if you still think that this is the worst Beatles record after you hear just the Beatles, let's talk, right? Because I really want to hear why you feel that way. And then, why the fuck did Rolling Stone put this version on? It should have been Let It Be Naked, and it should have been, 200 higher than this. The Naked version.
200 higher.
150? Yeah. I could buy Let It Be Naked at 150. Think about the songs that are on this record, dude.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
Even if you only had Don't Let Me Down, Let It Be, Long and Winding Road, Across the Universe.
That's just, I was almost taking it back. That's the biggest jump we've ever suggested. You know what I mean?
But I think that it's
founded.
Absolutely deserved.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
150 for those. If the
200,
record,
I'm cool with 200, dude.
If the record only had those 4 songs,
yeah,
Don't Let Me Down, Let It Be, Across the Universe, Long and Winding Road, I'd be like, well, yeah. I mean, it's got those 4 songs.
I'm cool with the 200 jump.
It's crazy.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah.
I can't wait to get to,
because I put it around like 140.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to get to 808s and heart rates, because we're gonna realize how wrong we were.
You think so?
Fuck off.
Maybe.
Crazy.
Maybe.
Okay.
Moving on. Or let's read Rex real quick.
Yeah.
So Rex, Let It Be. Oh yes, finally a Beatles album. In my opinion, Let It Be is the final Beatles sound album. It isn't the most famous of the discography, but it's one of my favorites, with Across the Universe being my personal favorite song on this album. And I don't know why. It's a good album. I don't know how I feel about its placement on the list. I'm good either way. So I'm not trying to say a whole lot about it, but he likes it. He needs to listen to the Naked version.
Rex, go listen to the Naked version and then report back to me.
But I'm with him on Across the Universe. That's an amazing song.
Actually, Rex, go listen to the Naked version and then take 5 minutes to report back to the podcast on your...
Send us an email. Yeah.
Yes. Like, include that in your reviews for next week. I just want to know. Like, I want to know if it changes your mind dramatically, or if you say, fuck off, Mike. It's basically the same record and I feel the same way. I'm curious. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yep. Mine as well.
Okay.
Moving on?
Yes.
Let's do it. 341 is the Smashing Pumpkins' Siamese Dream from 1993. Getting lower as I go. All these alternative bands today are so high up on their punk rock horse that they're in denial about being huge and playing big shows. Billy Corgan told Rolling Stone in 1994, "Not only do we respect the cliches, we see the truth in them."
Wow.
It's pretty self-aware.
Fucking Billy Corgan.
On their second disc, the Pumpkins pushed further from 90s alt rock to a grander, orchestrated sound with multiple guitar parts. multiple strings and a mellotron. Alt rock ended up following the band on its trip. Siamese Dream is packed with hits such as Cherub Rock and Today.
Dude, that's almost criminal that they fucked the. I don't know. That seems like the weirdest fucking description for a record like this. I mean, listen, I love the top part because I didn't, this is the first time that I've heard it. Like, I didn't read this before I was listening to the record, but
Me neither.
obviously both you and I dug kind of deep into what was going on when they recorded this record. And I love the fact that Billy Corgan was just like really, really conscientious about like what grunge was pretending to be. And clearly like he was
and like
super
accept what you
self-aware.
are, like I said, accept what you are, realize the reality of the situation, don't fucking pretend to be something you're
To
not.
be something that you're not, right? Because clearly he wasn't, you know. And I like the fact that he was calling out all of those other acts, but at the same time, give me a fucking break, dude. Like Cherub Rock and Today, yeah, they were. Today was absolutely the biggest hit from this disc, which. When were you born again? Were you born in 1992 or 1991?
I was born in 1991.
Yeah. You loved Today. That made you smile.
I liked it.
Trust me. No, but I mean like as a baby.
As a baby, I liked
Yeah,
Today.
yeah.
I thought you meant Today.
Dude, no. Your mom and dad played you that
You
song?
meant Today, I didn't
And
like
you were
Today.
like- you were
but
like-
back then, I liked Today. Yesterday, Today.
Dude, you were
meant
like
more
super
yesterday.
happy baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even at 2, like when your parents played this shit, like this was like one of those songs that you would like run around and be like, they'd be like, oh,
I was probably
look
playing
at me.
air guitar.
It's so cute. He's so cute. He loves this. He fucking loves this song.
Probably.
Yeah, your parents totally did that.
I can see it.
And you totally love this song.
Yeah.
Because it was that good.
Yeah, it's a great song. Not my favorite on the record, but I did like that song.
Ooh, I want to start there. What was your favorite track on this record?
Soma or Silverfuck. Although I did like in terms of accessibility, the very first track was incredible. Cherub Rock is nuts, dude.
Yes.
Like that's an incredible starting song.
Yeah.
Dive right into it. Love the vocals throughout this entire record. Whatever technique he's fucking using. First of all, I love his voice.
Yeah.
He has a great voice. But
Yeah.
he's like, there's more than that. He's like overlaying his vocals multiple times. There's
Did you read that?
No,
Was
but
he-
you can just hear it. Right?
What? Well, so what I wrestle with is, was he laying down multiple tracks or was he using some type of reverb or chorus effect on a single vocal?
It could very well. I don't think so, though, because I think it's based on. Let me explain why I think that.
Yeah.
Based on later in the record, there were some songs that had just an asinine number of guitar tracks. Okay. Soma, like I talked about, had 40 guitar tracks.
40
recorded.
guitar cuts. Yeah.
I read that there was one song, it didn't say which one, that had more than 100
Yeah.
tracks of guitar.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and the reason for that was that Billy Corgan wanted to do it all organically. He didn't want to put weird effects on there. So, based on that, I think that maybe he would have probably done the same thing with the vocals. You know what I mean?
I mean, that's entirely possible. I wouldn't put it past him by any stretch of the imagination, but at the same time, I feel like you'd be able to hear it, because typically when an artist does like multiple takes on the vocals, you can hear the variations.
Well,
You know
unless
what I
it's like
mean?
the same track doubled up and put a slight panning effect on.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I think
so in
that
other words, he's not intentionally trying to sing in a different octave or in a different. He's not trying to create a harmony with 2 different tracks. He's literally singing the exact same track, but maybe putting a little bit of a phase between one. And
yeah,
the
that's
other.
what it is. It's a little phase difference. And I think there's a chance that he did record multiple tracks, but that he sang the exact same part. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that he overlaid them together. That's what it sounds like to me.
Whatever it is, I fucking.
It
love
works so well.
Yeah, it works unbelievably well, especially with the guitars. And the guitars feel like the exact same thing, right? It feels to me, and this is not true across the board, but so many of these songs feel like multiple tracks were recorded of the same riff, but then whenever they mixed them all together, they just did like a slight phase change between each of them to create this giant fucking guitar sound.
Yeah.
And to me, like the notes that I make throughout this is the overdrive to me sounds unique. I don't think it has anything to do with the overdrive. I really don't. Like I think that it's all of these different tracks that just get mashed.
And they just make some
together.
weird sounds. They just make things that like if you ever listen to this record and you're like, what the fuck is that sound? It's a guitar. And they're just doing something weird with it. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
they fucking took 50 guitars and compressed them to the point that you could barely even distinguish what it even is.
Yeah.
And then they fucking added a bunch of effects to it. And they're like, let's see what happens at this point when we do this. And to us, we're like, what is that? Nothing that I've ever heard makes that sound. And they're like, that's 30 guitars.
That's 30 guitars
Yeah.
all mashed together.
Yep.
So a couple of things that I think are worth noting when you listen to this record, because even a casual, like non-Smashing Pumpkins fan could listen to this and they could be like, oh yeah, it's fine, dude. Like it's fine. I don't know if it's one of the greatest records of all time, but it's fine. A couple of things, right? Billy Corgan was like suicidally depressed throughout the entire recording of this album. And you get a lot of that in the vocals. Like the lyrics on this record, for the most part, are really kind of dark. Some of them are beautiful, and I really, really love some of the things that he says. But so many of these songs just have really immensely dark lyricism that kind of represent where his head was at the time. You also have drummer Jimmy Chamberlain basically in the throes of fucking tremendous heroin addiction, to the point that dude would just disappear for like weeks at a time, where the other band members didn't know if he was dead, if he was alive, if he was ever going to come back. And then he would just show up and he would throw down some more tracks. Billy Corgan apparently recorded a number of the bass tracks on here because bass player Darcy just wasn't either capable of doing what he wanted her to do, or he just thought that he could fucking do it better. So it was almost like this emotional implosion of this band, which led to the recording went way fucking over budget by, I think, like $250,000 over budget. It went over time by 3 or 6 months or something like that, longer than what it was supposed to take in recording. But listen, the end product, they sold fucking millions of records.
It probably evened out.
Yeah, this ended up being a monster hit for the label.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was Interscope or who the label was, but either way, regardless of how pissed off they may have been when they didn't make it by deadline, when they fucking came in like supremely over budget, there's no way they were pissed 2 years after the fact, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Butch Vig also of Garbage fame, drummer for Garbage, and Butch Vig also produced Nevermind, I believe, and a bunch of other like really, really big alternative albums from the 1990s. He was also the
producer of Nevermind.
Yeah,
I'm looking at him right now.
So shout out to Butch Vig, because clearly like that dude was able to wrangle some really fucking challenging
Crazy.
characters.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
Can you imagine? Yeah.
I can't imagine. Listen, I'm right there with you though.
Soma's incredible.
It's an obscene cut. I love Mayonnaise.
Mayonnaise is fun.
Mayonnaise is fucking magic to me.
So one thing that really hit me on Mayonnaise, and even like the first song, is like this is like what kind of genre would you call this? Like alternative rock? But it's such a broad. It's like a cop out almost when you hear someone say alternative rock.
Dude,
but what else do you call it? You know?
I mean, I would almost call this alternative art music. Does that make sense?
Art rock or art grunge? Art grunge.
It's like art grunge, because it is, dude. Like they knew that they were making something that was almost theatrical in nature. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
And they were doing that with intention, which is where I think you have to get like that, whatever you're going to call it, like art grunge might be the best.
I like that term. Yeah.
Because it's definitely grunge, but it's got like this insanely theatrical nature to it.
It does, but
it's not hokey and it's not campy. Like
it's not at all.
Fucking works.
The other thing that really sticks out to me about it, though, is what I was going to say is that I feel like music of this genre doesn't usually groove. And this like really grooves. Like I feel like I
It
can
finds
dance.
pockets.
You can dance to it.
Yeah, dude. There's
Like
pockets
normally,
in
like
there.
when I listen to No Hate to Lee Stamper whatsoever, I like Pavement a lot, but I couldn't dance necessarily
No,
to
fuck
Pavement.
no.
You know what I mean?
No.
And like to that extent, like even like bands like Nirvana, I mean, like I love the music, but I don't know if I'm gonna dance to it necessarily. But this, I feel like I can really like get into a groove of bobbing my head to a lot of these songs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can shift your shoulders, and it's one of those things that when they slip into that, man, it's so fun. But and especially on the back half of the album, like the back half of the album to me is where most of the magic happens, because you get these, I'm gonna call them danceable grooves, right? That they fall into, where it's super grungy, like really, really grungy. Geek USA does this. Soma does this. Silverfuck really does it, right? Like Silverfuck is where you get these like big, giant, like thick, chunky, jammy, dancey, grunge riffs. But then all of a sudden, like it drops away completely, and you feel like you're falling into space.
Literally, it's super psychedelic.
It's so fucking cool.
Silverfuck was one of the 2 tunes that I gave 5 stars to.
Yeah.
So that was one of my 5-star tunes. And I was texting our friend Lee Stamper last night, and I was like, fuck, put some good headphones on, listen to that.
Oh,
There's
man.
this one specific part.
You get so lost.
You get super lost. It's really long. First of all, it's like 9 minutes long or something.
Yeah.
But there's this crazy breakdown that for the longest time is just the bass guitar and a little tiny bit of drums. Okay.
Yeah.
For like at least 2 or 3 minutes. And then all of a sudden, after like 3 minutes, the guitar just goes and like strums this chord.
Yes.
And at some point when that happens, I was just like, I got chills. I was like, what just happened? And it's just like a simple guitar chord, but I was like, that was so perfect. That was like one of my most favorite moments of this entire record is when that guitar strummed that chord after that long break. The absence. Yeah. So good.
And you get a lot of that on the back half of this record. Like you get an absolute ton of this, like I was saying, like this weird, insane kind of danciness that just drops you out into the middle of space. And it feels like you can just kind of float around in space. And it's enhanced with Corgan's vocals, right?
Yeah.
Because especially when you get into that spaciness, he has like this almost, this guy sounds so stupid. He's got this dreamy quality.
It's not stupid at all. It's like dreamy and ethereal. It's like it's hard to put it into words because it's so unique.
But especially, and you nailed it. Like you got to put headphones on so that you can kind of tune everything else out and just let yourself go into the world that Billy Corgan is creating with sound.
His voice is almost like borderline feminine at times. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
But I love whatever he's doing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so I already had this as part of my digital.
I added it.
Yeah.
And I would love it on vinyl if they have it.
I would too. I can't say that I've seen this on. I don't know that I've ever seen this on vinyl. If I have, it may have been like priced so ridiculously that I was like, oh, fuck that. But honestly, at this point in time, especially after revisiting it this week multiple times over, I probably listened to this record 4 times this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. The next time that I find it on vinyl, I'm absolutely gonna get it. I'm all in again. What do you say placement wise?
I like it.
You like it where it's at?
You want it higher?
I mean, so interestingly enough, we haven't encountered Soundgarden yet.
Maybe we will.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't get Alice in Chains.
I know.
Speaking of that, there were Alice in Chains. This album is that. I mean, like I heard so much Alice in Chains.
Oh, you think so? Why?
Big time in the guitars, and especially in like there are many. Not to just reverse. I know we were kind of done talking about it, but that just made me think about like how much I heard like Alice. I think I was texting Lee Stamper last night about this. I was like Alice in Chains plus like 90s alt rock, but I can't remember what I specifically said. But it's like a 90s alt rock version of Alice in Chains.
To me, Alice in Chains is way closer to metal.
There's a lot of metal elements here. There are several songs that I would argue are metal. are, and even if you look on Smashing Pumpkins on Wikipedia, that's one of their genres.
Oh fuck you, Wikipedia. But I mean, they become more metal. I think they get more metal tangent later in.
I mean, even if you
some of
look
the
on this
tracks-
album on Wikipedia, it says metal. But
I hate that.
really, because I don't know. There's a couple. I don't think that's the prevalent in every song, but there's 5 or 6 songs that I think if I was to listen metal, you'd be like, yeah.
Okay, so here's my best argument against calling this metal in any fashion and calling Alice in Chains much more metal adjacent. If not
Much more metal for sure, but I
entirely.
think these guys are influenced by that. Is what I'm saying.
Guitar tone alone, like Jerry Cantrell, his guitar tone is unequivocal metal, right? Like it's a super standard, like super overdrive tone to his pedal, and you don't get that here. Like even when you get the overdriven guitar here, because you're getting 38 different cuts of the overdriven guitar, it sounds
so thick.
Yeah, it sounds so thick and I'm gonna say muddy, but not in a bad way.
No, it's shoegazy muddy.
Yes,
That's what it is.
Shoegaze.
Yeah,
Shoegaze.
it's shoegaze.
Yeah, it's shoegazy muddy. Which to me, metal adjacent, maybe, but to me, this is more adjacent to alt than what it is.
Well, that makes me
metal.
excited because if you like the shoegaziness of it, because you weren't familiar with Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, are you?
No, not at all.
Because that's going to be on this list. That's going to be
Ooh.
fucking high on this list. It's going to
Okay.
be like top 200, maybe top 150 on this list.
Wow. So is it reminiscent of this? Is that what this reminds you of?
Yeah.
Woo!
Oh yeah.
Dude, that does get me
Especially in
excited,
terms of the guitar. You're going to like, you're going to like this.
Yeah,
You're
that
going to
gets
like
me
that.
super excited.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, if this moved up 50, I wouldn't be sad at all, and I could easily justify moving this just over 300. Like
Yeah.
280 to 290, I can absolutely see that, and I wouldn't be pissed at all. I love this record, and it's funny because when this record first came out, I thought it was like so femmy, and we used to use a 3-letter word very flippantly when I was in high school that I won't repeat now because I think that it's wrong to use that word that way. But that's what I would have called Siamese dream when I was in high school. But I was stupid and I was wrong and I was a little kid. This record is phenomenally good. And
Yeah.
it is just, man.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah, too low for me.
But
Too low for me.
regardless, it belongs on the list for sure. And for me, it can move up a little bit. I don't feel super strongly about it. I think it's already pretty high,
It is.
But
It is,
Yeah.
but I love to see it. I love
Love
the
to see it,
recognition of it. And
Yep.
yeah, I'm super thrilled for it.
Let me read Rex real quick.
Yeah.
So Rex says, yes, music from my teenage years. I haven't listened to this album in years. At the time, alt rock was in its infancy of popularity. This album absolutely still holds up after all of these years. This album has the hits. Us Gen Xers remember Shara Brock, Today, the unexpected musical orchestration, melodies to the perfectly delivered rasp in Billy Corgan's voice on Disarm. Oh yeah, shout out to Disarm. Great song.
Mm-hmm.
Love everything about this album. Love its place on the list too.
Nice.
So,
All right. So, do you want to preview next week?
yes, sir.
Number 3, SWGY. Snoop Doggy Dogg's 1993 debut, Doggy Style.
Hell yeah.
Mhm.
I was reading that earlier and I was in my face because I haven't previewed this at all. I'm reading these for the first time. 339 is Janet Jackson. Rhythm Nation 1814.
Smoking. 338. Ugh. Fuck. God damn it. 338. We're going to listen to Brian Eno's record, Another Green World.
You're not excited about that?
No.
I'm excited about it. I like Brian Eno, and I think this is funny because we were talking about what album was it that Brian Eno was on?
Roxy Music.
Roxy. And we were like,
Roxy
because we're not going to
Music.
see Brian Eno on the list. We literally said that. You can fucking take that out of the podcast.
Yeah.
We said that specifically, and turns out we are.
Are you familiar with this record?
No, but I like Brian Eno. I
Do
do.
you?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd be super curious to see what you think. I've already
Have you listened to it? Oh,
yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's why you feel the way you do. Okay.
Yeah, sure do. All right.
This is me. 337 is Bob Dylan, John Wesley Harding.
Fuck yeah, Bob Dylan. And this is 1967 Bob Dylan.
Yeah, early
Fuck yeah,
Bob
dude.
Dylan.
That record rocks. The last record we're going to talk about next week, All Hail. Coming
All
in
Hail
at
Roxy.
336.
All hail the
Another
RM.
fucking Roxy Music record. This one from 1982, Avalon, because one.
And may there be many more.
What the fuck, man?
that was a joke.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about this more next week. I have not done a cold listen to this yet because I didn't want to subject my ears to any more Roxy Music yet. But here's the thing, like 336 is Avalon, and I'm scrolling back up, and I think it was 351 is where For Your Torture.
For your pleasure. Yeah.
What was that? Oh, it's For Your Pleasure.
It's a pleasure, actually.
Oh,
yeah.
pleasure. Okay. Yeah. What the fuck, dude?
Weird. Yeah.
You can say weird.
we'll talk about it once we listen to it. I haven't listened to it yet. I don't know what to
I
expect.
sincerely hope that Avalon blows me away.
Maybe it will.
I hope it doesn't just blow.
Yeah. Blow me away. Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you next week. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all for listening, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Bye. I mean, it really does suck.
Indeed.
That was good. That was nice and